Today, as you guys can see, we're going to try to do some row crop cultivating. Now this field and kind of the surrounding area did get quite a bit of rain over the past 2 days, but I mean, it's not very tacky at all on top, so I think it's gonna work pretty good. And today is Friday, the 9th of June, in case you guys are wondering when I'm taking this video, just in relation to how tall the corn is. I might try starting to do that more. I might try to start doing that more, kind of tell you guys the date, just that kind of stuff, so you get a feel for how many days the corn has been in the ground, how fast it grows. For those who don't farm, I don't know if you'll find it interesting, but I'm going to start saying it anyway. So this corn's been in the ground for probably close to 2 weeks now, and it is getting rather tall, or to the point where we can really start row crop cultivating with different cultivators. We hooked up the Henniker single sweep. I think I'll do a video on that this coming week. But today we are in a 3-sweep John Deere 85.6 row crop cultivator. And if you watched our last video, you guys saw me hooking it up and getting it set. So I'm hoping that everything is set correctly for this cornfield, so I don't have to get out. I can just unfold here quick and ideally start going back and forth, which is going to be kind of the motto for the rest of the summer, just back and forth every day. But super important to make these passes in our cultivators. Really helps with knocking out weeds and making the hand weeding crew's job a whole lot easier. So very important that we do these passes on our fields. Should probably actually make sure I'm in the correct field before I start going. So once again, just like I showed you guys in the last video, the biggest thing I'm looking for on this pass is that I'm not slabbing. And when I say that, I don't know if you watched last video, if I'm digging too deep in one of the shanks, it'll start bringing up big clumps of dirt, and we don't want that. A, because it makes your field all clumpy, and B, it'll throw it into the corn row. I'll hop out here after I finish these headlands probably and show you what I mean. But we don't want it to slab, because then it throws against the corn, it knocks it over, it breaks the stalk, and we do not want that in our field. That's second to iron blight. And for those that don't know, iron blight is when you're doing something like this and you're not on the correct track, you're not lined up correctly, and you end up taking out every single corn plant that you're cultivating. So this is the 24 row. So say if I was 3 inches, if I was really close to one of the rows of corn and my cultivator shanks were going right through the corn row, I'm not just taking out one row, I'm taking out all 24 rows. So it's very, very, very important to just make sure you're always in the right track, always lined up good, and never coming into a pass at an angle. So if the line's straight and I come in like this and my tractor goes like this and curves in, my cultivator is obviously going to follow, since it's the 3-point mounted cultivator. So very important this time of year to just make sure that you're always lined up correctly, right track, all that stuff, because iron blight, hate to admit it, it happens at least once a field. I mean, it happens. It just does. It's one of those things. When you go over enough acres, you put in enough hours, you have so many different people running equipment, it's just something you have to deal with, sadly. We are trying to get rid of that. One of the things we're doing differently this year is obviously the auto path, and I would say that has been really nice, especially for the newer operators on our farm, to just get a really good feel of where you're supposed to be. It obviously does it for you, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But that's one thing we're trying on our operation, is auto path, which I've mentioned before. Just make sure you're on the right line. It automatically gets you on the line you're supposed to be, and yeah, just helps a bunch. I'm gonna hop out here quick make sure everything's set correctly, just double check things. Always a good idea to get out and double check, make sure nothing's cracked, bent, or broken. But this time of year, if you're doing something and it's not doing it good, there's no point in doing it, because at that point you're just wasting fuel. So we're gonna hop out here quick. All right, so off first glance, I like the way this is looking. The one thing I will probably do is adjust the 3-point link, because I want to throw a little bit more dirt in the middle of this row here. There's not a bunch of weeds, but you can see like up here, or increase my speed. I didn't get any dirt on that weed right there. I don't want to do that. But the goal is, you can see how these are knocked over, ripped out. That's what we're going for. That is organic farming for you right there. So like I said, the one thing I'll do is I'll adjust the 3-point link, which adjusts the tilt on the cultivator. Like the whole 3-point, it'll tip back and forth. I'll adjust that, maybe go a little bit faster, see if I can throw a little bit more dirt. I'll probably do that first, because if I can go 6.5 compared to 6 or 5.5, that's just getting a lot more done. And I'm already and usually I don't know what you'd call it, this time of year for organic farmers is just everything's super slow. And so when you have corn this tall at this stage with this cultivator, we try to prioritize speed and throwing dirt. Obviously you want to be doing a good job, but sometimes speed is the trick to make it throw more dirt in the row. So that's kind of what I'm going to try out here. Right now I'm going, I think I have the preset at 5.8, so I might try to bump it up to like 6.5 and see how it looks before I start going, you know, on the long rows, just kind of mess around with that stuff on the headlands. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Another thing, just like the rotary hose, I always have to lift up the wings on the outside. It's actually the main one that lifts it up, but anyway, since there is a 24 row, I don't want it to drag, especially when the corn's this tall. Even if it's a foot off the ground, it's still got to damage that corn. So on the end rows, where I pick up 3-point, and then I have it my number 1 hydraulic to lift up the wings a little bit so it doesn't drag on the end rows. Yeah, I didn't show you guys, but when I get back lined up, I'll push it down the 1, set my 3-point down, put it in the gear, make sure my auto track is on, and away we go. And I'm gonna, you can see the 3-point link like right there. I'm gonna try to feather it down a little bit. I don't want it to start clumping in the track row. I don't want it to start clumping anywhere. But I think that looks pretty good. I can somewhat see it throwing dirt in the rows. It's going to be covering up those weeds. It's obviously taking out all the weeds in the middle, but this looks perfect. I'm not going to mess with anything else. If I have to, I will, but right now this looks really good. Alright, so we've been going for a little while. I figured I'd hop out and kind of show you guys the weeds we are taking out and what we're ideally going for in the row. I know I talked about it, but I didn't really show you a before and afterwards of it. So here is it after. You can see there's weeds here on the sweeps and shanks, so that means it's good. And then all these are all torn out. You can see there's dirt going through the row, which is perfect. We'll probably be covering up some weeds that would have been popping through, you know, in the middle of the row. So that is, I mean, that is perfect for what we are going for. And I'll show you guys before. This is the before. You can see weeds. Look at me being organic, pulling out weeds by hand. We do that also, but you can see there's weeds in the middle of the row. There's weeds kind of in the row. And this is what we're more going for, is the in the row stuff, like these little baby ones. Here's a good example. We're trying to cover these up, so that's why it's really important to get the speed and the the dirt thrown in the middle of the row to take out those weeds or cover them up, push them back so the corn can thrive more. So I think this is doing a phenomenal job. And before, when I said slabbing, so this row right here is probably the deepest row, but it's not throwing big clumps. It's still nice and loose. There's no big balls of dirt and mud being thrown in the row. So if that does happen, it'll just knock this corn. It'll just come, boom, knock it over, dead. So I like the way it's working. We're gonna keep on going, and I'll update you guys in a little bit from the tractor cab. Well, boys, we finished the field. So I figured before I start folding it up, I'd come show you guys the cultivator. All right, so you can see there's this big shovel in the back, and then there's two little ones that get real close to the row of corn. I mean, I just lifted up, so it doesn't look like I did much, but that's what it looks like, these three sweeps. So there's a big one in the back, then the two littler ones up front. And if nobody was wondering that, I guess we still showed it. But anyway, I'm probably going to call it a video. I have a friend's wedding to go to. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It wasn't super long, but I think we covered quite a bit of what we're doing cultivating wise and how we do it. So I hope you guys liked hearing about that. I know we don't talk a whole lot about organic farming, or as much as I think we probably could. So my goal for this summer is to try to teach more about what we do and how we do it. And obviously what makes it organic, which you're never going to see a sprayer in any of our fields. You will see us sprayer, but we won't be spraying the flaming wagon. So that's one thing I've talked about. Super excited to show that. That'll be coming next week, a video on that. It's a road gator, I don't know, that we swapped out the sprayer tanks, put on propane tanks, and it's a 60-foot boom. You know what, I'll just show you guys it next week, but looking forward to show you guys that in the field and running, because it's quite the machine. But anyway, thanks again for watching today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, and if you are not subscribed, subscribe to our channel to see more amazing organic farming content. And we'll catch you in the next one.